Because of Apple's extensive 3D and AR SDKs, the iPhone has been the platform for 3D scanning apps. Polycam, Scaniverse, Turnio, Clone, these are just a few of the apps available in the App Store. There's a ton more there, it's insane. And just a couple of days ago, a new player entered the space, realityscan. This one though is a little bit different. It comes from Epic Games, a company with a ton of experience in 3D and photogrammetry. For those who might not follow the market closely, Epic Games has a very popular desktop photogrammetry application, Reality Capture. So when I saw realityscan finally coming out of beta, I was very excited to try it out. So let's find out how capable realityscan is. realityscan's killer feature is something only a company with billions of dollars in revenue could do. And I'm not talking about the completely free processing of our 3D models, or even the completely free upgrade to Sketchfab Pro, or the free 8,000 credits we get to use in Reality Capture. No, all these things are just the icing on the cake. realityscan's killer feature is the incredibly helpful AR preview that appears as we capture the object. For this thing to work seamlessly, the application needs to use a ton of resources. Let me explain. As we go around capturing the object, the photos are uploaded to a server so they can be analyzed and aligned. That happens in real time. After some initial processing, the server sends back a point cloud that's overlaid on top of the real object. This point cloud is incredibly useful because it tells us in a visual way how well our scan is progressing. Green means we have captured that area really well, yellow means we have fewer data but still enough for a good capture, and red means that the area needs more photos. As we take more pictures, the process repeats. The photos are uploaded in the background, they're aligned on the server, and the point cloud is updated to reflect the changes. As you can imagine, this requires an infrastructure that cannot be easily copied by a startup. But besides that, realityscan has some other helpful overlays, and these ones take full advantage of iPhone's default AR capabilities. All the photos previously captured are displayed right there on the real environment. So it's super easy to visualize where we need to go next. Do we need to shoot higher? Do we need to shoot lower? Or is there a space in between the pictures that could use some more coverage? This overlaid information is something I always wanted to have. With a regular photogrammetry process, it's easy to lose track of what you've captured. If you get distracted even for just a few seconds, you're kinda screwed. You'll wonder, did I capture this area already, or do I need to shoot some more images here? But with a point cloud and the photo markers, this is not an issue anymore. I think for that alone, realityscan is totally worth it. But there's another really cool feature I would like to highlight, and that's scanning an object in more than one sessions. Let's say for example that we have completed a scan, but we later find out that the images we captured weren't enough. With realityscan, we can just go back to that location, enable that photo session, and continue taking pictures. The system will automatically align the already existing point cloud and photo markers to the object. It's really cool to see. But as amazing as these features might be, realityscan has its own set of issues. We'll come back to those in a bit. For now, let's see what kind of results we can get out of realityscan. With realityscan, we can shoot a maximum of 200 pictures per scan. It might not sound like much, but it's good enough for models with moderate detail. This model uses 102 pictures, so there's still some more room there. But definitely don't expect insane details, especially if we have to cover a fairly big object. 200 iPhone pictures can only take us so far. For this tree trunk though, this amount of pictures is absolutely fine, especially if we're going to use the object in the background. The scene has 1 million polygons in total, so if we target our photos very closely to the subject, we can get some nice details. In this case, some of the detail is wasted on the ground, but that's my fault. I could have cropped the scan a little bit tighter. Here's another scan that's not using the full 200 pictures limit. This one uses 114 images, and I would say the application did a really good job. It even managed to resolve some of the thinner parts of the bench, like the metal parts on the base and the sides. Not all parts are fully resolved, but that has to do with the fact that I didn't take enough pictures around these areas. Either way though, the bench turned out great, especially considering the fact that I didn't spend more than 3 or 4 minutes taking the pictures. realityscan always exports a color and a normal map, and it does so at 8K resolution, which is perfect. I wouldn't mind having more than one 8K textures, but I think we need to keep in mind that the service needs to cater to a lot of people, and it's also free, so I can understand the limitations. This brick wall uses 163 photos. The wall has adequate detail, especially considering that this is not going to be the hero object. The sides of the wall are quite a bit softer, but that's because I didn't shoot as many images from left and right. I mainly focused on the front part of the wall. Overall, the scanning results are good. I wonder how closely related realityscan is to reality capture. My guess is that they probably do share some of the same attributes, but that's just me guessing. Either way, realityscan's results are good, but I don't think it can compete with other apps like Polycam. Which brings us to the drawbacks of the app. The first one has to do with realityscan's killer feature, the point cloud overlays. In order for the feature to work, there's a lot of data that has to go back and forth. We need to send several images to realityscan servers, and we also need to get back the point cloud information. Let's use as an example the bench object. The 114 images that make up the object make it a middle-of-the-road scan. Before going through the scanning process, I noted down the data I started with, and I did the same once this scan was done. In total, I used 1,230 megabytes. That's more than a gigabyte for this middle-of-the-road object. Of course, this is not unexpected. We're sending 114 images, so there's not much the app can do about that. But it's something to keep in mind, especially if you don't have a big data plan. But even if data caps are no issue at all, there's still the problem of cell coverage. If it's not good enough, you'll have a hard time seeing the point cloud. That's what happened to me with my first scan. The connection was spotty, so I had to wait a really long time for the images to upload. And without any uploaded images, there's no point cloud. I ended up abandoning the capture because it took way too long, but in the process, I wasted more than 500 megabytes of data. So if you're in a remote location or a location with a spotty service, you probably won't be able to use the point cloud overlays at all. But to realityscan's defense, there are ways to circumvent these issues. First off, there's an option to enable offline mode. This will disable both Wi-Fi and cellular data. Or we can choose to limit data usage to Wi-Fi. Of course, this means that we cannot use point clouds or exporting to Sketchfab at all, but we definitely save up on data usage. Losing the point cloud might sound like a big deal, but it turns out it's not. We still have the very valuable photo marker overlays because that part happens on device. So we still get all the information we need, it's just visualized in a different way. After a couple of scans, I ended up disabling the cellular option. I still have all the visual feedback I need, and I also don't go over my data plan. So we kinda get to have our cake and eat it too. I think my bigger issue has to do with the scanning limitations of the app. For example, realityscan doesn't seem to support the turntable method. There's no way for us to turn the object to its side and continue with the scanning process. So we will always end up with an object that has one side completely unscanned. For landscapes, of course, that doesn't matter, but for smaller objects, we kinda want to have the whole thing there. So with that limitation in mind, I would say realityscan is a great app for big objects. Rock formations, tree trunks, stuff like that, which also happens to play to iPhone's strengths as a camera. For smaller objects though, it's not that great. Here for example, I tried to unsuccessfully scan a brick. It has a relatively small size, 18 centimeters in height. Because I'm shooting inside, the lighting is a bit more challenging. It mostly comes from one direction, and with the app's lack of exposure controls, notice what happens. When the iPhone is hit with direct lighting, it tries to maintain a balanced exposure for the whole image, and as a result we get an underexposed object. As we turn around, the exposure improves, and we get some good shots of the brick. That's until we get closer to the original underexposed position. As a result, the final scan has a lot of texturing issues. One side is brighter than the other, and the colors are completely wrong. This area should be gray, but it's more of a brownish color. Notice also the lack of resolution. That's the best we can expect out of an object of this size. This is because of a combination of things. Mostly it's due to iPhone's limitations, but also because of some limits set by the app. realityscan uses the iPhone's default lens, which is great because that lens has the better quality CCD, but that also limits how close we can get to the object. Let's take this can as an example. This is as close as we can go. If we go any closer, everything will go out of focus. And since we can't capture any more detail, the final 3D model will be a lot simpler than the real-life object. That's why I think that realityscan is only good for big exterior objects. There, the default iPhone lens is good enough, and because the outdoor lighting can produce more evenly lit results, the app's lack of exposure controls won't cause an issue. The last annoying thing I would like to mention has to do with the fact that we're forced to use Sketchfab. There's no other way for us to get the object, and even then, we have to jump through several hoops. In order for us to download the object for Sketchfab, we have to first make it public. Once that's done, then we can go to the Edit Properties section and download the FBX file. So we always have to do this weird dance: make the object public, download the FBX file, and then make the object private again. It's kinda ridiculous. I don't want to be too harsh. After all, realityscan is a completely free app, at least up until now, so it's kinda pointless to complain about something that we get to use for free. But the reason I'm pointing out these flaws is because there's so much potential there. If realityscan was a paid product and it was developed a little bit more, I think it would have been a really amazing app. I would also love to use the photo markers and the point cloud data on a non-mobile environment, for example while using a local computer and a regular camera. The camera could send the image data straight to the computer to process, and that way we could have a faster, more capable setup. Currently, the 3D objects we can get out of realityscan are constrained by the iPhone's camera and the app's lack of exposure controls, so the results are not as good as they could be. If I had to choose between realityscan and Polycam, I would have to go with Polycam. It's a much more capable service overall. We can upload photos from a camera, we can use the turntable method, there's no hard cap of 200 images per scan, and as a result we can get better looking objects. We might not have realityscan's photo markers or the point cloud data, but in the end none of these features matter if we cannot get a good looking scan out of the app. And if Polycam implements the photo markers feature, which is possible since everything happens on the phone, I think the gap between these two apps would be completely gone. So I'm kinda torn. On one hand, I'm excited that Epic Games has entered the mobile/Mac field, but on the other hand, the final product needs a little bit more work. But what do you think? Have you tried realityscan? Are you satisfied with the results? Let me know in the comments below. Take care, and I'll see you on the next one.